Action. Oh, I don't know if it's working. Let me see here.
Hey, makeup girl, get over here. We're about to go.
Oh, wait, we're live.
Get. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Time Capsules of Capua. I am your host, Cable McClellan, and on today's show, we are going to travel back in time to the land of ancient Rome and the Gladiator games. Ancient Roman games were a spectacle not to be missed. Thousands were flocked to amphitheaters and colosseums to see the blood of mighty gladiators be spilt, chariots race against one another, and even exotic animals battle against human enemies in fights for their lives. At first, only wealthy Roman aristocracy would put on these events for a sometimes merciless crowd, but it soon developed into a campaign tool for politicians to win the vote of the people. Just as football fans of today worship their favorite players like Russell Wilson or Tom Brady, Roman gladiators developed fan clubs as well. Champions' names could be seen graffitied on walls or preserved in art. Children wanted to be them, and women wanted to have sex with them. A famous poet of the time, Juvenal, even wrote a poem about a senator's wife who left him in a scandal with her family to elope in Egypt with her gladiator lover. The dynamic of gladiator contests were quite complex. Different skill levels were put in separate leagues, and gladiators trained and mastered different styles of fighting. Some of the most well-known styles included the Thracians, equipped with a broad-brimmed helmet that enclosed the entire head, a small round or square-shaped shield, and the Thracian curved sword, or the Sisa. Demachari, who used two swords, one in each hand, and the Rhetari carried a trident, a dagger, and a net. Chariot racing also developed quite the fan club, with 4 factions racing each other in their own colors. The red, white, green, and blue teams inspired great loyalty, building clubhouses for their fans. Now, if you think the riding after the Patriots lost the Super Bowl this year was bad, then think again. In 532 AD, riding destroyed half the city of Constantinople, sparked by chariot fans' disputes. The most spectacular gladiator shows were given by the emperors themselves at Rome. For example, the Emperor Trajan, to celebrate his conquest of Dacia, gave games in AD 108 to 109, lasting 123 days, in which 9,138 gladiators fought and 11,000 animals were slain. So, would anyone want to be a gladiator if the risk of death was almost certain and most did not exceed the age of 25? Well, the reality was that almost all gladiators were sent to the arena against their will. They were captured warriors or criminals turned into slaves for the entertainment of Roman citizens. Approximately only 20% of gladiators were free men, fighting to earn some extra cash or just a little crazy thrill seekers. The life of a gladiator was not easy. They would be sold to a ludus, owners known as a lanista, and then they would be trained in combat tactics following a strict diet, exercise, and skills routine. All battles that they won would bring honor to their lanista, and all that they lost would bring shame and loss of a financial investment to their masters. These displays continued for more than 600 years. It was not until about 404 AD that the Emperor Heronius banned the games completely. Suffice it to say, the dangerous nature of frequent arena fighting took its toll on many a gladiator, not only on a physical level, but on a psychological level as well. As a result, there were occasional instances of suicide within their ranks, so much so that even special guards kept watch to prevent such self-destructive activities. Cut. Assistant, vegetarian snack. Leave. All right. Activities that could potentially deter the business of the lanista. There was incident of a dramatic gladiator self-choking on a sponge material. Another grisly scenario involved the apparent mass suicide of 29 Frankish prisoners who had strangled each other while the last man standing smashed his head before they could make their bloody debut inside the arena. When it was possible for slaves to earn status and a place in some households, the lives of most slaves, being gladiator or not, were quite horrible. Wait, cut. It's too hot in here. Assistant! Alright. Leave! Action. They had virtually no rights and could not even own land. All slaves and their families were the property of their owners, who could sell or rent them at any time. Their lives were harsh. Slaves were often whipped, raped, branded on the face, and cruelly mistreated. Their owners could also kill them for any reason and would face no punishment. And it would take hundreds of years before any of this abuse was reformed. And it was for this reason that some new slave mothers would kill their infants rather than have them face a life of slavery. The treatment that Roman slaves faced sparked a revolution, led by perhaps the most famous Roman of all time. We will hear from him right after these messages.
Action.
Do you have basic human needs that you cannot possibly fathom carrying out on your own? Do you need your silver polish to be waited on hand or foot, or perhaps a new villa in the country to be constructed? Then have I got the deal for you. Fresh slaves captured from Rome's latest conquest are waiting to be purchased with your denarii in slave markets near you. We've got Celts, we've got Germans, we've got Gauls, we've got North Africans, prize-educated Greeks, and the most valuable, beautiful young women. Stop by Silvius' slave market and purchase a future gladiator. Act now and call XXIVXID and get some free gladiator blood to bring health and prosperity to your home. Remember, Silvius' slave market near you.
Welcome back to Time Capsules of Capua. But buckle your seatbelts because thanks to the wonders of modern science and a little bit of divine intervention from Jupiter, my team and I were able to construct a time machine to bring back some of the greatest stars of ancient history. Now, I've just got to activate my flux capacitor, and our next guest will soon be hurtled into modern times. And there. Please welcome my next guest, Spartacus. Great to have you on the show, Spartacus.
Great to be here.
So, I trust that your travels through time and space went smoothly. Now's your chance to tell the world thousands of years later what really happened during your lifetime. Why don't you start from the top?
From the top. Well, to start off, I was never actually Roman.
Oh.
Yes. I once lived in my homeland with freedoms that many people take for granted every day. I grew up in Thrace and joined the Roman army in the fight against our common enemy. I soon, however, found out that the values Romans held was not in tune with my own, so I deserted. Which, of course, really pissed the Romans off.
Yes.
After escaping and raging the countryside, I was captured and taken far away from the land I knew to become a slave in Capua. I was not to become just any slave, though. I was purchased by the house of Batiatus, a looter, whose owner which took and captured slaves and traded them to be gladiators. For years I was broken down by the Romans, not treated as human being, but as a toy and a source of entertainment, risking my life on the sand of the arena for sport. Although they had broken me, I still harbored a thirst for freedom within.
So, when did you decide that you needed to take your fate into your own hands and claim your own freedom?
Well, in 73 BC, I was among a group of gladiators plotting an escape. About 70 slaves were part of the plot that we planned for weeks to ensure our success. I led the lot of us out of the ludus along with my closest comrades, Crixus, Gannicus, Castus, and my dear friend, Oenomaus.
Ah. Well, escaping the ludus was only the beginning, right? You still had the entire forces of Rome to face, didn't you?
Aye, we did. Next, we seized several wagons of gladiatorial weapons and armor.
Ooh.
We were on the run and had to find a better position, and we defeated legions of Romans sent after us. plundered the regions surrounding Capua, recruited many other slaves, seeking freedom in our ranks, and eventually retired to a more defensive position on Mount Vesuvius.
But isn't there more to the story? Didn't a full-fledged war result in this originally rather modest rebellion?
At first, the Romans did not take us very seriously. They were very busy with other conquests in neighboring countries, and thought of our revolt as more of an in-house matter. That soon changed when we heroically defeated several legions of militia that were sent after us. We proved to the Romans that we were more than just slaves. Inspiring more than 70,000 others to join our ranks, our struggle was known as the Third Servile War.
Oh, all right. So what was the goal of all this? Was it to end slavery entirely?
To my homeland in Thrace and seek some kind of penance for the cruelty I experienced. I fought for 3 years for this privilege, but by then the Romans had turned up the heat. They had the upper hand with reinforcements returning from previous campaigns and a new leader, Marcus Licinius Crassus. The wealthiest man in Rome, we tried to retreat to Sicily, bribing Sicilian pirates to transport my soldiers to safety, but we were betrayed. The pirates left us and took our payment with them. The forces of Rome soon proved too much for us. Most of our men, including myself, were killed in the battle, and some 6,000 slaves were crucified as a warning to others in 71 BC.
Okay, but even though you lost the war, you had a greater impact on history than you could have ever imagined. Karl Marx calls Spartacus a real representative of the ancient proletariat. Books, movies, and even TV shows have been based on your story, and your uprising left a lasting impact that would affect people for thousands of years. Is there any advice that you would like to give the modern world?
Well, never accept what others tell you your destiny is if you do not believe in it yourself. Treat all human life with respect and dignity, and most of all, never trust a pirate.
Good advice from a good man. Well, that's all, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll hear from Cleopatra and get her side of her dangerous romance.